Okay, I'll shut the door here, turn on the screen. And grading was updated in all the other classes except for this one. So as far as starfish, you might have gotten, if you have another class with me, some kudos or missing assignments or whatever's going on with other classes. This one I hope to, so probably today is not good. I'm hoping tomorrow to be able to catch up on this one, and then expect some feedback on this class too, okay? And again, I went through a lot of these, but I want to go through again one more time and just kind of finalize. I think I'm going to have you redo them as far as like language and some things. So I think it's more helpful maybe with format and language to redo those, the press releases. That's kind of what my thought is right now. But today, we've got our screen going. So I want to move on. So just as a reminder, we are, went through that, went through 3. So you have been working on business cards, letterheads, and as you indicated Tuesday, I think many of you were done with business card and letterhead. I know I didn't give you a lot of time on Tuesday to catch up if you weren't done, but a couple minutes maybe to work on those. So if you've not uploaded your business card or your letterhead, please work on those to get those done. Final deadline looks like today. So hopefully we can get that done today, or you can work on them. Is anybody in a world of hurt on those? I think many of you are caught up on business card letterheads, other than if you've been gone. Okay. Then we worked on Tuesday, we went through the tabs and indents chapter. I used the file excerpts from a dog, and we, through the recording, if you weren't here, you can go through that assignment. We learned how to use tabs and indents and applied it to the excerpts from a dog. And then at the end of class, you uploaded that little 5-point project. So that was our in-class project. So the rest of today, we'll go through menus. So in Moodle, there's a little bit about menus and the menu assignment. So about menus in general, menu colors, fonts, and other elements should be consistent with the restaurant's theme. So is it a diner? Is it a steakhouse? Is it a sports restaurant, bar, a French or European type of establishment? So there's probably some overall theme that goes with your food in some way. Your menu should tell your customers what they're about to experience in terms of food, service quality, and overall tone. Your menu should be easy to read, draw people to the items that you want to sell. So oftentimes restaurants are going to have maybe some menu items that might be really tasty, first of all, so they might be well known. Hello. Well known for those particular restaurant dishes, but it could be that some of them have maybe a little higher profit margin, and it's something where you want to push those. So there could be multiple reasons for calling attention to menu items. So highlight special items and house favorites in boxes, maybe with color, other graphic elements to help them stand out. Most restaurant menu items are in chronological order in terms of appetizers, main course, desserts, or beverages. So you'll find categories in some fashion. Position your top selling or most profitable items where they're most likely to be noticed. If you have lists of items such as appetizers, put your top performers in the first 2 spots or the last spot. So that's kind of that people read down and sometimes they remember the last thing that they reviewed, and then the top 2 as well. Large lists can be formatted in 2 columns to space everything evenly. Avoid a busy menu. It'll be hard to read. Your images should combine the senses and taste and atmosphere when possible. Images don't have to be photos. They can be graphic elements such as drawings or vector art, but again, what's the best avenue to sell your dish? So I guess that's what I would suggest. No clip art. Don't clutter your menu with images. Use white space effectively. Images can be used to highlight your best sellers, biggest money makers. So you want to make them bright, true colors, and easy to see. So the menu instructions, we'll use InDesign to format at least some of the menu in 2 columns. So we'll talk again about the specifics, but I'd like you to get used to using multiple formats. So it makes for an interesting appearance, but maybe a 1 column, 2 column in different areas. So some of you will choose kind of varying formats. But I would like you to at least demonstrate some use, effective use of 1 column and 2 column format on the same page. For the menu assignment, you can use the sample text. So I've included sample text. You can go, online and find some things, but if they've misspelled something, then that's a deduction on your end. By the way, I traveled recently, and there was a misspelling. It was really heavy. It was in an airport, actually. Heavy cardboard, probably very expensive. It was a industry. It should be an industry, correct? Yeah, a industry. I'm like, wait, what's wrong? Sometimes you find typos. Okay, so you can use the sample text, or you can create your own menu. However, if you create your own menu, you're required to incorporate the same menu categories or add similar number of menu items to fill 1 page. So in other words, if you choose to do your own menu, you can't do 1 appetizer, 1 main dish, 1 beverage, and 1 dessert, if that makes sense. Let's see, you're required to name your restaurant, so kind of a top heading area. I'd like you to add appropriate images. You'll find them to your liking and that speak to you about the food. Enhance the images potentially. They should relate to the items on the menu. You want to format the menu items, the item description, and the costs consistently throughout the menu. You're going to be using tabs and indents and leaders, most likely a lot. So that's why we went through the tabs, indents, and leaders. You'll want to spell check, grammar check, and proofread for consistency in font style, size, spacing, and attractiveness. So as far as the menu itself, so go ahead. Is everybody in Moodle? Are you able to get in? You're not. Okay, I think both of those computers might be goofed up. I think Janet came in the next class and it was the same deal. So you may have to, remember how you had to go into InDesign and sign on with your, you may need to do that same thing. Is anybody else having inconsistencies with their computers, the network? That one still is a little goofy. Okay, I forgot to talk to IT, so I will do that about these. I'll have to record the numbers today. Anyway, and Erin, I'm going to put the image up on screen here, but in the meantime, you will want to get into Moodle if you can. Okay, so the image, and there's multiple images as far as the method you want to use, how you want your menu to look. The other thing about menus, so you're going to find that it's not very often that they're printed on, I would call it kind of wimpy paper, kind of like our copy paper. Oftentimes they're on cardstock, heavy cardstock, and even if they're not on a heavy cardstock, I guess I think of maybe the Pearl, it's a really nice bond paper. So they've worked to get nice bond paper and print their menu on bond paper. A lot of menus you see where there's a cover over them. It could be that it's a cover that's attached. It could be that it's kind of something that you slip the menu into. So you see a variety of those. And you want to make it easy for your patron to read. Menus are in dark environments. A lot of times things get spilled on them. High contrast is really important because of that dark setting. Clear, colorful pictures are going to be really important. So having white space, again, this one has quite a bit of white space around it, but it's pretty clear. Now the Tuscan Grill, the appetizers, soup, salads, that's not super clear. I don't know that, maybe I can, no, I can't make it zoom in. I don't know that that would have been maybe my first choice for a font for small type. I think it works okay for some of the larger type, but maybe not so much for that smaller. I think that the descriptive type style works really well. So it's a sans serif. In other words, the sans serif doesn't have the little swishes on the ends that can tend to bring characters together. They've been consistent with, you know, there's some sort of a roadmap to what the V is, what the other, you know, is this maybe one of their specialties? So we're not seeing the whole area there to describe what that is, but I'm guessing probably a specialty. But this one, again, specialty of the house is called out. Very consistent with the name of the item, arugula salad, Caesar salad, da 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 da. Same color. It's a center aligned font, but they worked pretty hard on that center align. Do you see any that have hyphenated words? So hyphenated words would make this more difficult. So if you are going to center a line, you need to work pretty hard to make your line breaks. How do you make your line breaks? Remember? Shift-Enter key. Yep. They didn't use leaders to go to, you know, to lead your eye to the cost. So that would work okay. These are probably just some sort of a glyph. It looks like it's printed on some sort of a colorful bond, you know, watermark-ish type of paper. There is a page border. That's a thin thick. So there's thick on the outside, thin. Solid line there, so the heavy line matches there. The thin thick here matches, but it's got, again, kind of that more thin look there. And then again, we've got a line that connects all the way here. Sometimes you need to zoom in. So if you're drawing lines, you might need to zoom in so that you can actually see they're connected. So at least be at 100%, maybe even 200% to test that out. So that's one potential example. Another one, so this one's a little bit more colorful. You've got some kind of squigglies going on. You've got actual images, so the color of the dish itself against a white plate. So that's a good photography tip, I guess. So make sure that there's nothing else, no other colors that are going to interfere and conflict with your food items. Again, very consistent. So starters is the same as breads, is the same as buffets, is the same as the dosa corner, whatever that is. The lentil sambar soup is the same as the idli, if I pronounce that correctly. So you can see exactly the same, and it's uppercased, and I think that works okay. So you'll be able to choose that for yourself. Again, the lentil and vegetable is the same as the steamed. They've got one hyphen, so space, hyphen, space, leading up to the cost of the dish. So again, there's consistency throughout. There's a little bit of, if you do something like this, so this could call attention, buffets might be, you know, what they want to call attention to here for this particular restaurant, and it does slope along with. So if anybody wants to do something like that, I can help rather than do like a squarish looking. Anyway, so that's another example there. And then third one, and again, it's kind of little here. I thought, so they're JPEGs. Maybe that's why they don't zoom in all that well. Anyway, this one may be a little bit more difficult to see, but appetizers, soups, and salads are exactly the same. They've got some sort of a little glyph going on either side of those. The blue is the same as welcome, as enjoy, using the same blue and uppercase letters for the dish name itself, the item. They've got an underline that's within the column, so column left edge to column right edge, but not connecting here with the solid line between. So this is a good example of what I mean by one column. And also the name of the restaurant, I would say, would be a one column. Does that make sense? So it would be edge to edge. And then 2-column for your items. This one also has a single column at the bottom. Okay, so 1 column is really no columns, if you think of it that way. All right, so there's kind of some examples. There's lots of others online. You'll find all sorts of examples if you look. But menu text you can use. So we'll go ahead and open that there. I'll open mine. So it's not formatted much. What I did do is, so there is a 1 enter key in between kind of the blocks themselves. I've got 3 appetizers, 2 salads, some seafood. So this would be more or less so that's the salads, seafood, the gumbo. No, that's all the seafood area. Steak area, so that would be more main foods, I guess. So the main courses. The star attraction happens to be the ribeye club steak dinner. And there is a mini shrimp cocktail and all this other good stuff with it, a potato, and it's $35. In desserts, they do go over to the other. That's kind of a poor break there. I just threw it all out here unformatted, but there's some desserts and then there's some beverages. And you're welcome to add these, change them, not use them, use them. So this is your choice. I uppercased the item name, but you don't need to. So I'm just trying to distinguish or format them so that you know that's the name of the dish. Appetizers are the heading. But appetizers should probably be larger than the name of the dish, right? Okay, so these are purposefully not formatted. You do not need to keep that style. So the space, hyphen, space, $7. You can do liters, okay? So again, if you want to use that type, that's fine. If you don't want to use the type, don't use the type, but it's there for you. And then as far as the menu itself, I've got a deadline of October, so it's would be, what, a week from Tuesday, the 15th, so you've got some time to work on it. And that's what we'll work on today. So if you need to finish up letterhead or business cards, because today's the deadline, you might want to work on that if you've got just a little bit. If you're ready to go here, then go ahead. And again, if you want to look up, so you can look up menus. I can go to images if I want to see some actual menus. So if this one, you know, you call attention to that one, I really like the style of that and how they did that. There's my couple of columns there. There's 1 column here, 1 column here and here. So again, go ahead and do some looking if you feel like you want to do that and before you get started. Okay, so that's all the instruction I have today. Does anybody have questions, especially something that's on the screen here? If you need to recall tabs and indents and leaders, remember that I've got the kind of the main pages here, so you should be able to find instruction if you don't have a textbook. So far so good? Okay.